Alright guys, what's up? Tim Ryushima, Static Boards here again. Um, we're going to start modeling part 1. And for this tutorial series, we're going to go over pretty much making a ledge, making a basic rail, basic ramp launch, a quarter pipe, and possibly a box, just to show kind of how I do some detail work and stuff like that. Um, Basically, we're going to start opening Blender. And if you have the thing we did last time, you can just what we saved as. You saved it as whatever you want. I saved it as a sample park for tutorial. You can go ahead and click that. If you didn't save it, just hit general, highlight these three, your camera, cube, and light, and delete, and you're good to go. In this case, I'm going to open up that park just because that's what it's for. Okay, so now we have our empty open park. There's nothing there. You can scroll up, scroll down. That'll zoom you in and out. If you click in the middle mouse wheel, it'll give you the 360 view. Okay. So that'll give you, you can go up and down with it too. This point is your point of origin. Right now, you don't want to move that. That's kind of your center point of the whole map. Um, Later on, I'll show you moving this and how you can use this as a tool, but right now, you just leave it where it's at so you always know where dead center is. That's pretty much movement. Middle mouse click in, scroll in and out, and that's pretty much your movement. If you want to move away from the center, because right now all you're doing is circling, orbiting around the center point. If you want to move side to side, you hold shift and then you move. So I'm sorry, then you click in the right the I'm sorry, click in the mouse wheel and then you can move. So you hold shift in the middle mouse wheel and then you can move like this. Oh, I grabbed my origin on accident. But yeah, so that's pretty much how you move. Damn, you can't believe I just did that on accident. Anyways, but that's how you move. Just like that. Shift moving, you don't really need to do right off the bat. You're just going to use your mouse to move around until you get your first few objects done. You'll see why. All right, to add in objects, the hotkey is Shift A. I don't know why it's spamming A on the screen, but it should be Shift A. That's going to bring up this menu. Mesh is mainly what you're going to add. It's always going to be meshes for the most part. At least this is the way I do it. Curves, I don't mess with those until I make a rail, which is different, a different kind of curve. So we always go to mesh. Plane is going to bring you up a plane. This is what I like to use right away. You can click it and hit S, and then you can move your mouse and scale it up or down. All that's going to do is scale the size. It's not going to bring it higher or lower on the Z axis. The Z axis is this blue one right here, which is your up and down. Your X is your left to right, and then your Y is your left to right that way. So obviously they're color coordinated. Hopefully you're not colorblind, or you might have a little issue with it. It doesn't show Z, but those are your three. Get used to them. They'll be your best friends. Z, Y, X, X, Y, Z, whichever way you get used to it. But we have our plane now. That's just going to be a floor. And again, this is all just for example. We're not going for perfection, anything like that. So the second thing I like to do is go up here and go to File, go to Import, and go to Import FBX. The main two things you're going to import is FBXs or objects. FBX is what we're going to import. And now you're going to go to the folder that you downloaded in the first video and take your skater model, which will be the low poly model. Don't worry about the rest of that. And you're going to import it. So now you have your skater. You got your skater and he's standing on a plane. Now you thought this plane was big until now you see the skater on it, and that's the actual size of it. So that's the main reason we need the skater in, because right now you might make a ledge this big thinking this is as big as the park is, when in reality the skater could step on it like a stair. You know what I mean? So you really kind of need the skater to really get your scales in. You can't go off of measurements all the time. It's nice to just take him and drag him right up to something and, have him see if he's the right size or if the rail's the right height. So always bring the skater in. What I do is I click him and I hit G, which is to grab. But like I said, you really want to get used to using the Z, Y, and X axis. So when you click him and you hit G, you can move him. But if you hit Z, now you move him on the Z axis, or X, or Y. If you want everything proportionate and perfect, always use X, Y, Z. If you hit G and you just move them, say here, and click, if you look, it moved him off the center and moved him to the right. He's up here. He's in a weird spot. If I say I want to move him down here and I go like this and I move him down here, it's not centered. It's not, he moves off of everything and then you have to sit there and recenter him. Another thing that I always do is when I start a new project, I come up here. There's a little snap tool here. This is to snap objects to each other. In Skater XL, obviously, when you hit a ramp or something, you don't want to clip the edge. You want to ride over the edge like it's one piece. So what I use is I click this and I change it to vertex. And what that does is when I have an object like this person, if I hit G to move him, now he's in free move mode, I can hold control on my keyboard and I can snap them to a vertices. A vertice is, I have to show you that. When you click an object and you hit tab, you go into edit mode. A vertice is pretty much its points of an object. So like as you see, the plane has 4 vertices, 4 points. Also, if you change it up here to edge mode, it has 4 edges. And then if you change it to face mode, it has, right now it has 1 face, but that's because it's a plane. Planes are a little weird. I like using cubes better, but whatever. So that's your vertices. With something like the player, even though he's low poly, he's going to have a lot of vertices, a lot of edges, a lot of sides. So, I mean, that's just the buildup of your character, your model. Vertices will depend on angles pretty much. So you'll see as we work along why the 3 differences matter: vertice, edges, and planes, because there is a big difference between the 3 and how you utilize and use them. So now that we have our plane, let's make it a little bigger and let's fix him. But anyways, now since we have our plane and we have our character, let's say we want to build a ledge, because now we want to skate, obviously. Let me just fix him. Okay, make sure he's on the ground. All right, so now you want to build a ledge. So you would hit Shift A and go to cube. Okay, now obviously that's a huge ledge. What I like to do is hit G, Z, and bring it up, just so I can work on it, kind of look at it. Now I have the cube selected. I'm going to hit tab, and that's going to bring me into edit mode. Edit mode, and if you hit tab again, is object mode. So edit mode and object mode are your 2 modes that you have in Blender when you're playing with an object. So when you change it to edit mode, what you're going to do is change this up here to the 3rd one, which is face select. You have vertex, you have edge, and then you have face select. You want to change it to face select, hit G, Z, and bring it down. Now, the trick is when you hold control and you bring it down, you'll snap it to itself. And now you're like, okay, well, there's no ledge. Well, this is just something I've learned over time. Off the ground, your average box ledge or ledge is anywhere from 0.5 to a 0.7 in height. So since we did, G and control and snapped it down to itself, you're going to hit G again, Z, and then you're going to hit 0.6. Now that's going to be about the height that we want our ledge. Now after that, you're going to hit G again, Z. you're going to hold control and pick one of the corners and then let go and hit, click your mouse in. That's going to confirm it on the ground again. So now you're on the ground. As you can see, it's phasing through the ground, which doesn't matter, really doesn't. In all reality, you could take your ledge, do this or that. It doesn't matter. I like to keep everything even with the ground. It helps me when I do texturing later. I'll show why. But yeah, so that's just the way I like doing it. Now we're going to click the cube again, go back into edit mode, click this face, hit G, Y, and we're going to bring it out like that. Okay? So you can pretty much get the gist of how to move a cube. You have your X, your Y. If you were to say click it, go G and X, it's going to do that. So you're going to move it side to side. So, if you go G and Z, you're going to go up and down. Technically, this is a way you can make a launch ramp. I don't like doing it because then you have that underneath, but that's just personal preference. But yeah, that's a way to make a launch ramp. There's multiple ways that you can move this. You can make it short, long. That's pretty much how to control a cube. With a normal ledge, obviously we want it, bring it in. What you can do is do that again, control, click it to that, and then hit G again, X this time, and do like 5 or 6. Yeah, 0.6 looks good. Also, if you ever mess anything up, I should have said this right away. If you do a step ahead or you get mixed up and you have to pause the video for a sec, the quick and easy way to fix something is hold control and hit Z, and it does undo. So if you keep hitting it, it'll keep undoing everything that you just did. And you can go all the way back, I think 30 steps. So, as long as you catch your error quick enough where you can go back, you can always go back and edit it. And later on, readjust it and stuff. But now we have our ledge. There's a few things we can do with this. Can leave it like this, turn it into a grindable object in a ledge and use it. Or we can click it, go into edit mode, mess around with the edges. If you grab an edge, you can hit G. You can hit X, Y, or Z and play with it however you want. You can make something like that. You can make something like that. You can do whatever you want, play with it. Another cool thing is if you click an edge, which this is edge select in case you forgot. Vertex, edge, face. So when you're in edit mode, it's going to be edge select. You can click this, hit Control B, and you can bevel the edge. If you scroll up on your mouse wheel, you can curve the edge. So you can turn, something into that, something into this. Be warned, once you figure out how grinds work, you'll know what you can and can't do. So just careful, because some stuff is kind of hard to figure out how to spline it when it's shaped very crazy. But anyways, another thing that I found that I like doing is I like making these round concrete ledges. And to do that, all you have to do is bring it in a little tighter, click the top edge, hold shift, and click the other edge. When you hold shift, you'll be able to click and unclick multiple edges. So you hold shift, you click both, and then you hit Control B to bevel again. But this time it's going to bevel both. And I'll put it right about there, and I'll scroll it up, and I'll make a ledge like that. And it's just, I don't know, I like hitting stuff like this. It's weird, I know, but it's just what I like hitting. But anyways, let me bring that back out. But anyways, so now we have our ledge. You wanted to get crazy, you could add coping to it. You could add, the metal bar to it. You can engrave metal bar into it. I'm not really going to go over all that. That's kind of advanced stuff. I'm just kind of covering the basics right here on a ledge. Now we'll go ahead and do a rail. There's actually, you can click your ledge, hit G, and then X, and we can just move it over here, get it out of the way for now. Now you're going to want to hit Shift A, and there's two ways we can do a rail. There's a plane way, and there's a cylinder way. Cylinder is what in your head seems right, seems what you would do. So we'll start with that. The cylinder, I have a quick method to using it. So once you shift A, you bring in the cylinder. You're going to come up here to this little arrow where I showed you. If you click it, it has the XL mod and everything in there. So make sure you select the cylinder. Go here to dimensions and change X to 0.06 and Y to 0.06. Okay. Now you're going to come up here to the rotation. You have X and Y, and depending which way your thing's facing, you're going to rotate. In our case, I believe it's on Y. So you're going to click here and you're going to put in 90. Nope, I'm sorry. So if you do what I did and you see the rail is not going to face the right way, change that back to 0 and change X to 90. I can't give a better method. That's just how I do it. If I put one and it's wrong, I just put 0 and put the other one. But you just wanted it facing that way. So now, obviously, this rail's short. You could come up here, hit X, scale it however you wanted to. You know what I mean? Make it longer, shorter, whatever. Another method is to click S and then hit, say in this case, Y, and just go up, and you can scale it that way too. That's kind of the way I like doing it. Gives you a little bit more control over what you want to do, how big you want it. And then just like the ledge, it's the same heights. So you want to get a rail right about here on the skater. For handrails, you can go a little bit higher like that. But for like flat rails, this is about the highest you want to go, and that's about the lowest you want to go. So in this case, we'll do G, Z. So G is grab again. Z is up and down on the Z axis. And then 0.6. Boom. So that's about the height that I like making my flat rails. It's right about thigh length. If you think about it, when you skate a rail, it's actually kind of high being at thigh, but in the game it works good, especially with realistic stats. So that's about where I'd put them. Again, depending on how you play, if you play vanilla or you play with stats, some parks, when you play them, you're like, whoa, why is this so big or why is this so small? It's because you're playing a park based off the stats of that creator because they skate it. So if they skate it with their stats and they find everything to skate properly, then they post it, your stats might be way different, your top speed might be different, and you might not be able to hit something as fast as them. And that's where a lot of people come up with their opinions about why they don't like maps or why they're not scaled properly, when really the person that made the map has no issues, and that's really what matters in the beginning. So we'll see what happens, but I'm hoping a lot of people start map making off of these, but let's get back into it. Now we have our rail. It's up in the air. It's floating there. A couple things you can do. Little trick I learned if you want this kind of rail. If you come over here to your rail, again, you're using shift and you're clicking in your middle mouse so you can move around. And you're letting go of shift and clicking your middle mouse to turn. So that's kind of how you go like this and that and give you that really, you'll zoom in and stuff like that with the scroll. Once you get used to it, it'll be very natural. You will not even notice that it's complicated to move around. It'll come natural, I promise. Once you click your rail now, we're going to hit tab and go into edit mode. And you're going to click face select up here, and you're going to click this face. Now after you click this face, you're going to want to come up here. I cannot remember for the love of God the name of this thing. I'll just call it the XYZ arrows, but I cannot remember the name. There is a very specific name for this device. It was made for people, I believe, that had issues with something and it made it a lot easier. I don't remember. Anyways, we're going to come up here and hit this red X, and it's going to bring up the side view for us. So if you click or move, it's going to bring you out of it. So make sure you just stay in the side view for now. You can hold shift and move left to right, but if you move your middle mouse by itself, it'll completely take you off the axis, so you're going to have to hit the red X again. but you want to be in the side view. And now what I like to do, this is for this type of rail, is you can hit extrude, which is E, and that'll give you a section of what you just had, and it'll bring it out. So you can bring it out as far as you want. In this case, we're just going to bring it out a little bit. Then we're going to hit R for rotate, and we're going to just rotate it a little bit down like that. Hit E again to extrude, little bit like that. R for rotate, and I bring it like that. Try to get it as straight as possible. If it's not, it's fine. Now E to extrude and Z, and you're going to bring it down on the Z axis. You can bring it right past the floor, just a little bit past the floor. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. When you finish your rail, it's going to look like that. I don't think it's the greatest. A lot of people like it. I'm not one to tell them it's not great. Whatever. Now, that's one way. The other way, I guess I could leave that and just do another one. Oh, no, I can't. Okay, so that's one way to do the rail. The other way that I think is more simpler. Oh, sorry about all that. The one way I think is more simpler is if you click the rail and you hit Shift D, it's going to duplicate it. So now you have two of them. You got two rails. Now if you right click and that's it, it's going to let go of it. But you're still selected to it. So now you're going to hit R, I believe Z. No. RX 90. So you're going to push R and then X and then 90. And that's going to give us the rail straight up and down. Now you're going to hit S and Z. And you're going to bring it down on the Z axis. Now hit G and Z, and you can move this down so you got it level with the rail. What you want to do is come in here, really get in here and see. You want this part right here on the rail to just go in. So you want it kind of like that. The reason for that I'll show you later on, but you're gonna hit G and Y and you're gonna move it, to wherever you want it. Then you're gonna hit Shift and D, Y, and you're gonna move another one to wherever you want it on the rail. That's how you can make your like normal type looking park rails. Now the kicker with these is they're not attached. The stem to the rail is not attached. If you want all of this rail to be one color, you can join it together. If you want to make these different colors than this, I would suggest to just leave it like this. My case, for the tutorial purpose, I'm going to go ahead and click the rail, shift click the other post, shift click this post, then I'm going to hit Control J and join it all together. So now it's all one piece, there's no gap anymore. I'm going to right click it, I'm going to hit Shade Smooth. I'm going to come over here to my geometry tab right here, click it. There's a tab in here called Normals. You're going to open that and you're going to click Auto Smooth on. And there's your basic handrail. Okay. We'll get to setting the splines later on. Right now, this is just basically showing you. And now, since we've joined those posts together, it's only one object. So we can literally take G, move it wherever we want, do whatever we want with it. You can even hit S and you can scale it more. You can make that. You could, you can make some crazy stuff with it, and you can just do whatever you want with it. But that's pretty much to get you a rail. So now you got a basic rail, and you got yourself a basic ledge, and looking pretty good. Starting to get a few little things you could work with. I'm sure tons of you could take the ledge, the rail, and just go nuts making all types of tech type setups. So that'll be helpful. But Now, the next thing I wanted to go over is launch ramp. These are really, really easy. A couple ways to do this. Um, with launch ramps, there's always, well, actually, with every object, there's always issues with faces. Your faces on an object sometimes flip, they face other ways. It just depends on how you build the object. One way to check that is to check the faces or the back face culling on them. And we'll get to that. We'll go over that right now with the launch ramp, and I'll show you what I'm talking about because it's probably going to end up doing it. But what we're going to do is make sure you click off of anything. You got to click in the background here. Make sure you're not selected to anybody here. You want to hit Shift A, go over here. We're going to go ahead and bring in a plane. Okay, this is the first kind of launch ramp I'm going to show you. So a plane, it's level with the ground right now, which is perfect. You're gonna click the plane. You're gonna go into edit mode, tab. You're gonna hit edge. You're gonna click this edge, and real simple, you're gonna hit extrude, which is E, and then hit Z, and you're gonna go up as high as you want it, pretty much. What I like to do is I hit extrude, I hit Z, I bring it up, I click, and then I hit G and Z, and I move it where I want it. It's just a habit. It's easier because if you extrude twice, you'll have an extra line and it'll mess you up. So it's just a habit I've learned is to extrude it, click, hit G, Z, and then move it to where you want it. So there looks good. Looks a little high actually, but we'll put it like there. Now while you have this edge selected, hold shift, click this edge. Now that you have both of these edges selected, you're going to hit F, and that's going to make a face. It's going to make a face between this edge and that edge. Now, something about faces is, say you have this four edges here, but you don't have a face, and you want to make a face here. I would suggest you click the four edges and make a face. If you click this edge and make a face, this part and this part will not be connected, and it will cause issues with a lot. Texturing, clipping, masking, a whole ton of stuff. So my suggestion is to always make sure that you do as much as you can when you face something. So for instance, this to this, all you can do is those two. If you do this, you're going to end up with that. You just reface the object. So you just put a whole second object pretty much, which isn't what you want. You just want to put that ramp face there. So after you get that on there, you're going to hold Alt and you're going to click this line. When you hold Alt and you click, it's going to select all of the ones attached. I think it's all the ones that are like attached or something. It's a weird description I can't give, but you hold Alt, you click, hit F, and you'll face it. Hold Alt, click, hit F, and you'll face it. So now there's your basic launch. Again, just like the ledge, you can get funky with it. Click this, Control B, and you can, bevel the edge, make weird kind of bumps instead of launches, all types of stuff. Let me see if there's backface culling. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now in theory, this looks good to go, right? We could load it up into Unity, make it a physical object, and go ahead and hit it, right? Well, no. When you go to Unity, your object is going to be disappeared. There's going to be nothing there like this. You're going to be missing its planes. I don't know why it happens. I don't know how it happens, but I know how to fix it. So what you do pretty much is you come up here to your little bar that's above your tool set you had here, and it's called shading. You have to make sure that you're in solid mode. You should be working in solid mode regardless. It's how you start. You should be in solid mode. You don't need to do textures or rendering right now. Stay in solid mode. So click up here. You're going to go to click this on. I had it off. That's why it looks normal. Everything looks fine. Click this on, and it's going to show you any faces that you're missing on the map. So now I see I'm missing faces. I'm going to click this object that I'm missing the faces on, which is the launch ramp. I'm going to hit Tab. I'm going to hit A to select all of the faces. And then I'm going to hit Shift N. and that's going to recalculate the faces. Now, if you just had one face, obviously you can click that one face and do Shift N. In our case, we were missing all the faces all the way around. They were flipped around. So that's why when you do this and you have them there, I can see this face here because it's flipped. But when I look this way, there's no face. See? It's because it's flipped around. So when I do that, it flips it. So now I can see it on both sides because it's flipped properly. Same thing with that now. So that's how you flip and recalculate your faces. There is a couple other methods to doing it. I just think that's the easiest. You can click this off. What I do is I build with this on. The worst thing that happens is you build something and you just don't have a face on it while you're building it. And you can tell, and then you just Shift on the face after you build it. You know, it's really easy. So I usually leave it on. Or another method is to have it off, build your map. At the end of your map, click it on, go around and recalculate all your faces that are missing. I mean, there's multiple ways to do it. That's up to you. I think the last thing I wanted to cover, the last thing I wanted to cover was a quarter pipe. A box. Not a quarter pipe. Quarter pipe's going to be in the part 2 advanced. It's a little complicated, or not complicated, just a lot more steps to it. But we are going to go over a box real quick because it's pretty simple. Okay, so you have your world origin, this red circle here. Something I do is once you have a face or a plane, if you shift and right click, it'll move your world origin to that area. Now, if you do like here, it's going to put it way off in oblivion and it's going to mess everything up. So you want to make sure you're on your floor because then it's going to make the object even on your floor. So when you do like a plane, it's going to be even with the floor instead of like up here in the air spawning. So yeah, that's just something I do to move around easier, make stuff. So like say I want to make like a coping on here on this ledge. I'll shift right click on the ledge and it will allow me to spawn something right on it, you know. It's a little easier. You don't have to do it. In the beginning, it's scary when you move this because when you move it, you don't know how to reset it and everything spawns at this now and it gets kind of nerve-wracking when you're new to map building. Don't worry, there's a solution to fixing everything. There always is. So if you get stuck, always just pause it, save it, come back to it later, ask some people for advice. Plenty of us are here. Plenty of us can show you. So, but yeah, the last thing I wanted to show you was a box. So you Shift A, you're going to want to go up here and go to your plane. Now you have a plane. You're going to hit S, scale it up a little bit. Just because I don't like how small it is. So now you scaled it up. You're going to hit Tab to go into edit mode. Hit I, which is invert. Oh, that's a new one. I is invert. Now, invert basically makes another object inside of the object, but you're like insetting it, inverting it. Is the best way to put it, I guess. I don't know why I'm trying to explain it. It's kind of self-explanatory. It just inverts. But what I do is I'll bring this invert in, click it. Now you have this weird looking box type thing. While you still have that selected, you can hit G, Z, and bring it up on that axis. Everything after that is up to you. So this is your basic box, your pyramid box, okay? Now, if you want to take this, hit G, Y, and drag it, make it long, short, I mean, whatever you want to do is up to you. You can change it to edge select, click the edge, you can drag this out further, drag this one further. You could take this edge, hit G, hit X, and then hold Control and snap it onto there. Now you got yourself a flat wall on that side. You know, there's a lot you can do with a box. I'm not going to go over everything because, yeah, it's pretty much however you want to make it for your map when you make it. But I will go over on the next tutorial how to add a hubba ledge to this on a rail, different ways than we made these, and we'll try to get all of the modeling parts out of the way before we move on to how to actually assign the grinds and do all that. And then, yeah, we'll take it from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a long one. I know I'm probably not the best at explaining stuff. I am going to include a list in the bottom corner, I think, of this video that has all of the hotkeys. So you guys should have that sitting right there. It should be a little more self-explanatory for you, but hopefully you guys caught everything. If I didn't explain something again, or if I wasn't too thorough on it, just hit me up. I can go over it again. I can write it down, or I could definitely find another method for you or ask somebody that does know. So just let me know, and I appreciate you guys, and hopefully we can keep this community going. So I'll see you guys in the next one.